What's going on, Top 10 Nerd family, and welcome back. With the announcement of the new She-Hulk show for Disney Plus, there's a lot of hype around this character. But who exactly is she? Jennire Walters, who happened to luckily be the cousin of Bruce Banner, was shot by Nicolas Trask, and in order to save her life, a blood transfusion was required from none other than the Hulk himself. With the new announcement of the Jolly Green Giant, what kind of She-Hulk will we get in this show? Well, seeing as there's more than a few storylines to pick and choose from, it shouldn't be too hard. Here to break down a few of those versions, I'm Taylor McWatters, and in no particular order, here are our top 10 dark alternate versions of She-Hulk. Minor spoilers ahead. Number 10, Zombie She-Hulk. First appearing in Marvel Zombies Dead Days issue number 1 in 2007, this is arguably one of the most fun versions of Jennire Walters, depending on how you classify fun. This story takes place on Earth 2149 after a zombie plague, which you may have probably guessed by now. This comic is super dark and gory. It's kind of awesome too. Even before She-Hulk comes in, it's traumatizing. When Jennire arrived at the Avengers mansion, she was a little shocked to see the current condition of the Avengers, you know, being crazy zombies and all. It wasn't long at all before she herself was zombified, and after that point, ooh, look out, Buster. She then went on to kill Franklin Richards and his sister Valeria. So you can imagine the look on the Fantastic Four's face when they returned. They weren't too pleased. Specifically Susan Storm, who blew up Jennifer's head with a force field. Ew. Number 9, Future Imperfect She-Hulk. Taking place in the Future Imperfect storyline, of course, this version of She-Hulk is a bit strange. See, here she's referred to as Shulk, which I like better than She-Hulk. Has a better ring to it. Shulk. Kinda sounds like when you drop a wet bathing suit. Shulk. So specific, but there you go. So in this issue, we have the Abomination, the Hulk, and the She-Hulk. And after a nuclear fallout, they're much more powerful. See, the Hulk ended up becoming Maestro. I did a list about Hulks as well, so if you like this one, go check out Maestro and other crazy versions of the Hulk over there. Shulk, on the other hand, doesn't have hands, rather, she has talons. So Emil and Shulk tried to take down the Maestro, but of course failed, because I mean, look at him. So Shulk ended up becoming locked away in a sarcophagus for 7 years. 7 years! So in that time, Emil took over Castle Maestro after Maestro's disappearance. And then he put She-Hulk in his bedroom where he planned to make him his wife. Okay, weirdo? So she woke up, saw Emil touching her hair, and she's like, okay, weirdo, stop. So she knocked him out nice and quick, and then learned that Betty 6 was pregos with Maestro's child. So she went into the past with Caspin with a plan to kill the woman and to end Maestro's family line. Okay, so she and Caspin ran into Cyberslick, and they tell the two where the woman is. So Shulk shows up, beats the hell out of Abomination, easy, and right as she's about to kill Betty 6, boom, Caspin kills her with his mental powers. What a ride. If you want to see this for yourself, check out Abomination's number 1. Number 8, Earth 1610. The Ultimate Universe. Jennire Walters, or no, Betty Ross. That's right, Betty Ross is playing the not-so-jolly Green Giant on Earth 1610. Making her first appearance in Ultimates issue 3, the daughter of General Ross was roommates with Janet Van Dyne in college. So Janet started seeing Hank Pym, who we don't really like, and she started dating Bruce Banner. So a couple of things happened with Bruce as he was trying to crack the super soldier serum, and he ended up becoming the Hulk, as we all should know by now. So as she watched the Hulk rip people apart, she actually grew to like him even more. She's like, strong man, I like the way you rip their spinal cords out. Let's go for a coffee. Now Bruce had actually been out on trial and been given the death sentence, being, you know, the Hulk and all. And she was devastated. So Jennire Walters, like the Jennire Walters, had cracked the code on the serum at this point. Betty Ross lied to Fury and said that Jennire Walters was planning on selling the serum. Survey says that was also a lie. She was actually just pirating the new Star Trek early. And have you seen the new Star Treks, honestly? I did it too. They're pretty good, they're great. So not quite as bad as we thought, right? I mean, Betty injected the serum right before jumping out of a shield jet and landed on the ground saying, "What up, y'all? I'm Plan B." Pretty cool entry, if you ask me. I don't know if she said y'all, but she should have. Betty fought Wolverine and actually managed to gouge his eye out. Wolverine, being Wolverine, still ended up winning the battle and forcing Betty to wear a collar that will choke her to death if she becomes Shulk again. Number 7, 9939 She-Hulk. Sounds like a hotline, it's not. So this Earth 9939 is this alternate version of our common 616 Earth. So Baron Strucker, the 5th, came from Earth 8410, stay with me here, came from the future into the past of Earth 616 and killed most of our heroes that we know. Wah, wah. See, most of our heroes, but not all of them. Jennire Walters was one of the survivors, and now she lives in this dystopian tech future, even engaging in a relationship with Rhino. You know, Rhino, like Paul Giamatti. Remember Paul Giamatti as Rhino? I mean, the guy's great, never phones it in. Fred Claus, let's go. So, they go back in time to defeat Charnel, to prevent the dark future that they came from. And sure, she died in the final battle, but I think she pulled off enough of her own weight here. Like, kinda crushed it, Jen Waltz. Kinda crushed it. Number 6, HYDRA She-Hulk. Okay, this is a fun one. So Jennire Walters of Earth 9997 ends up being infected by HYDRA creatures that were created by Norman Osborn. I mean, look at these things. Imagine waking up to that. Well, she didn't. Yeah, like many others, when she was infected, her soul ended up in the realm of the dead. Her body, on the other hand, became the host of Queen Hydra. I feel like I'm a good vessel too. I mean, these lanky arms are kind of like tentacles. They're not as slippery though, you know? Maybe when I'm jogging, they get a little bit wet. I feel like she's slippery. I don't know, that's what I'm trying to say. So, after the new and improved Queen Hydra led the other Hydras, they dominated S.H.I.E.L.D. and then they eventually moved to New York, the city that never sleeps, because, you know, there's monsters everywhere, all the time. She-Hulk's soul remained in the realm of the dead until she was recruited by Mar-Vell on a quest to kill death. You heard me. Number 5, House of M She-Hulk. So, on Earth 58163, Wanda Maximoff gives birth to 2 twins. Vision's at her side, all is great, happy family, except all is not great. She's actually in a dark room on Genosha. Professor X and her father Magneto discussing how she is too powerful and this simply isn't enough. It's all in her head. So this House of M event is not a great time. You know, Jennire Walters, while all this is going down, specifically in House of M issue 5, was a successful lawyer working alongside Daredevil, aka Matt Murdock. Luckily, she was one of the heroes who got their memory returned and was responsible for helping set the world back to a better state. Also, side note, I'm gonna call it now. This is gonna be the main plot of WandaVision, or at least part of it. She-Hulk being announced after WandaVision, seeing the alternate realities with Wanda and Vision, I'm on to you guys. I have some ideas. Number 4, Earth A She-Hulk. Also known as Earth 721, Earth A was home to another Jennire Walters, of course. This version didn't have superpowers like our 616 Earth does. So she decided it would be a fun little vacation to take Albert E. DeVore's technology and travel to another universe to get the same superpowers as that Jennire Walters. So, while on the other Earth, Jennire fought Rhino and even had an affair with the Juggernaut. Okay, making your rounds, I get it. Not exactly my ideal vacation, but I'm not knocking it. So, of course, being another Jennire Walters, she was caught. Then they had this plan that the depowered Jennire Walters would go to her Earth 721, while the new powered multiverse Jennire from Earth 721 would stay on Earth 16. How do you like them numbers? So it's a little swap, a fun little swappy swap. However, during the trans-dimensional transfer, Reed Richards was able to return her powers back to her. Nice. So they both ended up staying in their appropriate universes. How lovely. Number 3, Spider-Gwen She-Hulk. This is a fun one. Okay, I would straight up watch countless hours of this one. So Jennire Walters doesn't have Hulk powers in this one, right? But I had to include her in this specific list because she's a regular human and she kills it. She's a regular person. She paints herself green because she wants to. So on this Earth 65, starting in issue 7 of Spider-Gwen Volume 2, Jen Walters was actually a pro wrestler. Yeah, and if that wasn't already intimidating enough, she ended up becoming Gwen Stacy's defense attorney. This show would be epic. I really hope we get something similar for her Disney Plus show. Just painting herself green, getting hyped up. Maybe she grew up watching the Avengers on the news, gets herself all amped up, slams people through some tables, go to court, shake some hands. That's a warrior right there, people. I need to see this. Debit. I'm buying this movie. Number 2, Old Man Logan. Hulk Gang! Okay, so if you don't know, Earth 807-128, even more numbers for you, was home to Hulk Gang. Now, Hulk Gang sounds like a fun time. Hulk Gang is what happens when all the supervillains take over the US. So Bruce Banner is like, hey, you know, we have some crazy similar powers, we need backup, you're the only person I can kind of mate with. What do you say? And Jennire Walters agreed to go through with it, and it wasn't long before Hulk Gang came along. This version of Jennire Walters is super powerful. Her, Daredevil, and Moon Knight are amongst like one of the few remaining soups. She kicked Wolverine Old Man Logan Giant Size issue 1. Go check it out right now. And finally, number 1, Lyra. I feel like I have to say it with an accent. Lyra. Taking place on Earth 8009, beginning with Hulk Raging Thunder issue 1, we find Lyra Walters, or sometimes referred to as Savage She-Hulk, is the daughter of Thundra and Earth 616 Hulk. Yeah, so she's from Earth 8009 in the 23rd century, and at that time the Earth was split into different factions. So the guys faction were like warriors, you know, like they looked up to past heroes like Wolverine, just men, you know. And then the women came together under the United Sisterhood Republic, and they were outgunned and outmanned, literally. So Thundra got sent to Earth 616, where she met that Earth's Hulk. Had the baby, and Lyra actually gets stronger when she's calm too, which is cool. It kind of reminds me of my mom. Whenever she was quiet and still, I knew I was in some trouble. So she's able to tap into gamma sight, which means she basically can see the flow of gamma radiation. She's one with the gamma. And like all over the world too, not just within her sight range. So she becomes a smarter, smoother fighter in this state. And if she becomes angry, however, she will actually become weaker. But even at her weakest though, she's still as strong as Spider-Man, so come on. Well, there you have it guys. Which She-Hulk did we miss? Let us know in the comments down below so we can throw them into other videos. Also, are you looking forward to the She-Hulk show on Disney Plus? Are you kind of over it by now? What are your thoughts? Where do you think she'll fit in with the current MCU timeline? Let us know down below. And as always, thank you for watching. And while we still have you, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'm Taylor McWatters. Thanks for watching. Later, skaters. Take off my watch. I don't want to know what time it is. All right, let's do this, nerdos. Jennire Walters, who happened to luckily be, good start, Tay-Tay. Jennire Walters, who happened to luckily be the, why am I, this is crazy. And then you put shehulk,